Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. It's called Expressive Arts, the ultimate creative guide to transforming stress. So I'm going to introduce these lovely ladies to you in just a minute, but a huge shout out goes to our lead author, Jean Voice Dart, for getting us all together. Jean, you had such a big vision and mission for this beautiful book. I'm very grateful and honored to be guiding it and be in your world and getting this beautiful work out into the world today. Thank you for gathering such an incredible, stellar guest expert author cast. Just wait until you meet some of these authors, you guys. I have Bonnie Sheldon with me today, a certified EFT master trainer, MBCT trainer, and somatic pioneer who has guided over 9,000 clients toward emotional clarity and embodied resilience through trauma-informed tools and transformative mind-body practices. We've got Megan Edge here, a master healer who empowers others to reclaim their health and vitality with a holistic approach to healing and wellness. And Kate Hawkes is here. She's an educator, theater professional, and story facilitator for personal empowerment. I have some cool people in my Zoom room today, you guys. We're going to start off with Bonnie. Bonnie, tell me a little bit of the why behind your chapter.
Well, thank you, Laura. I wrote chapter 17, Free to Move, Free to Be. Soul in Motion, the Power of Dance. Why would I write this? Because I love dance and I know how much it can help people. I've seen it all my life. I started dancing when I was 4. I traded thumb sucking for dancing. I didn't know what dance meant, but every time I moved, people would say, "That's a dancer there." So I wanted to be a dancer and I didn't know what that was. And loved my thumb sucking. So I traded classes and magic ensued and it continued to ensue. But it was just for me originally a chance to be. And later I learned over time that that's what dance is a way to be in your body. And if we're expressing versus performing, if we're just expressing, we're releasing and showing things that our bodies know, our minds don't. So when people go out and dance it out on a Friday night, they're releasing stress. They're letting go of the week. And I wanted to share that with people.
Oh my gosh, Bonnie, ever since I have met you, and thank you for being back for another book project and contributing your wisdom and your whole life experience to this one. But ever since I met you and thought a lot about dance, I think a lot about the beginnings of my journey where I actually felt shamed to move like that, especially in front of other people. As a little kid, I would grab my sister and we would put on dance shows for our parents. And then somewhere along the line, it was like, no way, Jose, something about my body, something, and I wish I had the memory of what that was. But a lot of people now, as adults that I meet, they won't get up and dance. They won't move their body like that. What do you want to tell those people today?
I want to say dance is for everyone. And if you don't feel great about it, close the doors, pull the blinds, turn on some music and dance for yourself. No one knows. I mean, there's that saying everyone's sick of is dance like no one is watching, but it's true. Many, many people don't feel comfortable initially starting or maybe ever starting to dance, but that doesn't mean you can't dance. You can dance in front of the kitchen sink while you're doing the dishes. Hey, da 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 da. It just gives us a way to release, a way to find rhythm, so many benefits. I would say if someone's uncomfortable dancing or moving, live with that, set with that. And once people start to dance or move, sometimes those inhibitions fall away.
Do you always have music on?
No, in fact, I have had periods, and performance pieces that were to silence or to a narrative, sometimes we want to follow and listen to just our bodies, not be stimulated by a rhythm or an environment or whatever might be memory might be called to mind by that music. We want to see where does that body, our body want to go. Maybe it's a tight day and it just needs a little softness, or maybe there's pain, or maybe there's excitement, and we don't need music for all of that.
Bonnie, thank you for saying yes to this project and for being here today.
My pleasure.
I was kind of hoping that Bonnie was going to answer that way because most of us think, that we have to keep to some beat, and that's part of the problem. Is like we feel like we can't dance, right? But for all the reasons Bonnie shared with you guys today, no excuses. You could move that body. I love it. All right, Kate, I'm moving over to you. Give me a little bit of the why behind your chapter.
Hey, I'm Kate, and my chapter is chapter 7, and I'm having to read it. It says personal magic, creating and owning your unique life. And that's precisely it. I've spent a lot of time working with people of all ages and types and backgrounds, particularly people with trauma. And I think that we forget that we are our own magical self. We're always trying to be someone else. We look at other people and we want to be like them, and we forget that we have our own power. And I think when people discover that, when they realize that they have a magic to share that other people get, they become powerful, independent human beings that can operate well in the world. And that's what I want to share.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a few small things we're talking about in this book, you guys. I'm teasing Kate because, like, this is big potato stuff. This is like, I am a unique being and I can do anything and feeling empowered. Like, so in terms of being that unique self, what do you think is the most important thing you want people to know about that? What, if you had to give us the golden nugget, what would it be?
I think the most important thing is to actually be responsible for and to yourself. And that means take ownership. And with ownership comes responsibility. So get the tools you need, and then you be responsible for using them. I think there's a tendency to look to other people to heal us and look after us, but ultimately only we can do it. It's like you go to school to learn to be a mechanic, and then you become a mechanic. But you have to be the mechanic. You can't still get another mechanic to come. So that's the most important thing. I think ownership and responsibility for yourself.
Kate, when someone gets to the point, and gosh, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and there's some struggles going on. And if I get to the point where I would love to take that responsibility, but I'm paralyzed, like, yeah, what do you want to say there? Like, what's my first move
I
there?
think the first move is to take a moment to tell your own story, like step in. And even if you do it, all the things that are in the book, whether you do it through dance, poetry, art, whatever, find a way in to allow yourself to tell your story and be in your story. And that means you can allow the grief, the anger, the fear, the joy. You can allow those things to happen. And yes, have someone help you, have someone guide you. But the ultimate goal is to not need outside. You have to get there, but don't get stuck in that place of always looking outside of yourself. Find what's in through whatever means you, and keep doing it. It's like I'm planning to run a marathon. So I'm training. I'm not just going to go run the marathon. I'm running 5, then 6, then 10, I'm building up to it, but ultimately only I can run that marathon, but I need to do the work to get there.
I love that way of thinking about that. I am a 3-time marathoner, and I love that because that's a process of training,
Mm-hmm.
and we have this goal we're looking at, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we do that little by little. We get stronger. Our endurance builds, and I think that's for this life topic you're
Yeah.
talking
And,
about
and
too, right?
and we also notice when our
Mm.
body needs a rest. And that's the
Yeah,
same with any sort of therapy or healing. There's times where you just need to stop for a while. I can't keep doing this. And then go back to it. So, I ran a very, I'd forgotten I'd signed up for a 10K on Saturday, and I went and ran it. It was much harder than I thought. But you know what? The next day I'm like, I'm older, I'm hurting. It's okay. I'm taking the day off. So you also have to know when to take a rest from it.
Yeah, really important. Oh my gosh, yeah. Some of these topics, you guys, we could have a whole show on the one topic.
Yeah.
I feel like that about all your chapters, by the way.
Mhm.
Kate, thank you for
You're
being
welcome.
here, for saying yes.
Absolutely.
Megan, tell me a little bit of the why behind your chapter.
Thank you, Laura. My chapter is chapter 18, and the title of the chapter is The Heart's Journey to Healing and Wholeness from Chronic Pain to Self-Love. And the reason that I chose this aha moment in my story is because of the realization that came to me, the understanding that came to me of where my pain in my body was actually originating from. And in that understanding, I realized that if that's where my pain is coming from an emotional place and an energetic place, from experiences in my life that I haven't processed, then that's the same place where other people's pain is coming from. And so to be able to share with people this understanding that our body holds emotional pain, and that one of the ways that we can relieve the physical pain is by healing the emotional pain, becomes such an important part of that whole process of being a healed human being. And I want people to know that that's possible for them.
Yes. And that, oh my gosh, here we go with this topic, these big potatoes topics, gals. Um, all right. So the physical pain has manifested. Unfortunately, that's like down the road. So, what if we listened to the whisper? Talk to me about that.
Yes, so the whisper or the roar, depending on how it comes to you, is if we were to listen to that first and foremost, then our body doesn't have to express itself in a painful way. The pain is a message. The pain is a messenger from the psyche or from the soul that is telling us, reminding us that something needs to change. But if we are awake to the way in which we are living our lives, and if we understand that the painful experiences that we've had in our lives are actually opportunities to learn more about ourselves, that if we can give meaning and purpose to the things that have happened to us in our lives that are challenging or traumatic, we change our relationship with those experiences, and then we change our story. And once we tell our story differently with using a healed language, then our body doesn't have to be in pain. It doesn't have to get to that painful place at the physical level.
I had a guy once talk about this like it was a stop light, a traffic light, and like, we don't want to get to the red light, which is the roar. But it would be nice to green lights pain free, right? We're good to go, but it would be nice to catch it at the yellow light. And I'm wondering, in my own body, sometimes just tightness is a yellow light. Can you give me another example for our listeners? What other whispers could I be paying attention to?
You could be paying attention to injuries. And we talk a lot about the way the body holds disease, dis-ease, but also when we start stubbing our toes, maybe pay attention to what's going on in our lives. Look at that symbolically. What does my toe mean in my body's language? What do my feet mean in my body's language? They mean about being grounded. They mean about walking our path, walking our true self. And if we're not walking our true self, and at the time that when this story happened to me, the one that I share in the chapter, I wasn't walking my true self. And so if I'm stubbing my toe, breaking my toes, twisting my ankle, stumbling on the sidewalk, that's the yellow light saying, hang on, slow down, stop, and take a look around you and see places in your life where you're not walking your true self or your true path.
I love that one so much because I have a couple of sort of um, texts on my desk all the time. They're like in my house. I carry them around with me, and one of them is that animal spirit guide, right? So I see something and I'm paying attention. I'm going to look it up like a little horoscope or something. But the other is Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, which is it because I can look up the toes and I could be like, stub my toe. Like, what does this mean, right? I love that. I love being able to have these little clues, just these pauses where I'm dwelling in the meaning paying attention. Awareness is everything, right?
Absolutely. And for me, it was that quote by Anise Nin, which is, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to bloom. And I
Yeah.
realized that I was that tight bud. I had kept everything so tight, I wasn't blooming. And that wake up moment of, wait, I should be blooming. What's that? What would that look like? And that's when the creativity started in terms of how am I going to then express myself? Which became these beautiful hearts in nature that I started taking photographs of. And then those became the Oracle card deck that I published with Hay House. And it became the expression of that pain that my heart had been holding for such a long time that I was ignoring at my risk of ignoring it, because then I was in chronic pain with fibromyalgia.
Megan, thank you for saying yes to this project and for being here. I've got a huge thank you to all three of you. Let's take a little peek at the cover while I give you guys that thank you. Um, it y'all took on my challenge of putting that vulnerable story in this beautiful book, and you did it brilliantly. And then you guys, these authors, all these beautiful authors, um, really spelled out an experience you can have with their tool. I can't wait for you all to get hold of this book. A quick thank you to Davide De Angelis for this beautiful cover art as well, you guys. So thanks to all three of you for doing that. This book is a huge gift. Kate, I want to come back to that tool that you're offering, speaking of these tools. And you told us a little bit about what was important to you, what you wanted people to know about owning that unique life. Like when I read your title and I read personal magic, I love it because I am magical, And so like, what do you want our listeners to understand about that? Their personal magic. Like, let's say they say to you, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't feel in connection with that.
So I think it's we sometimes look at what other people do in the world, whether they're great athletes or great actors or great artists or great musicians, and we feel the magic they bring. We know how they make us feel, right? And we see how they affect the world. And we think, well, I'm not very good at A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like, I don't have those skills. And what we forget is that in our daily lives, we are constantly touching other people with who we are. We carry around our own personal magic, our own way of being able to affect people, being able to like touch into people. And when we honor that and develop it, then that magic can get bigger. We don't have to already be famous, but in our circle. And if we're lucky enough or have the opportunity to reach more people, fine. But the magic doesn't have to be hugely spread to be magic. Um, and I think that we also downplay the little things in our life. America has this culture of grandness, like everything has to be big in order to be valuable. No, just the lady in her garden who has a garden and gives flowers to people who walk by. That's personal magic. That's a gift you give people. Um, and the tool, can I talk about the tool now? Is that the time to do it?
Please go for it.
Yeah. So even though most of my work is to do with writing, I incorporate all the arts. So the tool I put in my chapter is to imagine yourself as a piece of art. And so it's using art, and I always say you don't have to be able to draw, doesn't have to be real. Think Salvador Dali, think something that's not real, and so imagine yourself as a piece of art, and you're beautiful and you're valuable, and draw yourself, articulate yourself from the inside out, not about what you look like, it's about what's happening here. And then where would you hang that piece of art so you can see it each day? And when I do the workshops, people create the art, and then when they come back next week, I say, where did you hang it? Where did you put that? So to remind yourself that you are this unique, valuable being. So that's the very basic entry tool.
Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh, you guys, wait till you read these chapters. What a powerful message as well. And it doesn't have to be big and grand because everybody you touch, that's some personal magic. Kate, I love that message. Thank you for that. Megan, for you on your chapter, What's the most important thing you want people to understand about moving from chronic pain to self-love?
Well, first of all, that it's possible. I work with a lot of clients who are in chronic pain, and the place that we have to start with is that messaging of it is possible to not be in pain. And that's a really challenging belief because when you're in chronic pain, it's so present. It's really hard to think about anything else, to imagine what it's like to not be in pain when you're in that chronic pain. And so the knowing that it's possible by understanding someone else's experience of it, that they've been able somehow to do the work, to move through the pain, to live a pain-free life is absolutely possible. And then the way in which we do that is connecting with ourselves. And that's the tool that I share in the chapter is one way through the use of oracle cards that we can connect to ourselves. We can give ourselves permission to have a moment in the day that's just for us and ask a deep question. What does my body need right now? Or what do I need to know right now? And open ourselves up to wisdom that comes in through a deck of oracle cards, for example. And so it's a way to carve that time out for yourself, to honor yourself. And that's one of the most significant ways that we can lessen chronic pain. And it very much taps into what Kate's saying, that understanding that we are magical beings, that we have value, is huge. And when people are in chronic pain, they don't know what their value is. That's part of the pain that they're in.
Yeah, another really powerful message. Thank you for that. Um, this is going to be like the most brilliant segue ever. But let's say they pull the dance card, Bonnie. And here we are with Bonnie's tool. Tell us what the most important thing you want people to know about the power of dance is.
There are many ways to learn how to dance. Many, many ways. And whichever way is easiest and most accessible will bring a freedom within that's just unknowable before you find it. Is that ability to not have a frozen shoulder, but to go, I don't know, just the ability to move.
Yes. Yes, yes. There's something magical about getting in your body and making a movement. No rules, you guys. I know Bonnie would agree with me. Like no rules here.
Absolutely. I wrote that tool particularly for someone who was not used to or able to dance, as I outlined basic steps to get yourself moving, and then some of the components or elements of movement, like use of space, how gently or powerful we move, those kind of different elements, if we start to think about them, once we've stopped, move through the initial period of, can I actually move? Because we don't move too often in Western society. We go forward in the sagittal plane, or we might thump our hand in the vertical plane, but we don't really move too much in our daily lives unless we're doing some kind of athletics. So my tool is designed for people who have never really or not recently danced to get started.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Bonnie. Back when I was in the middle of my martial arts training, I would often talk to people about there was two things I think on the planet that would make me feel the most, I will say, fit. And it was the martial arts and dance. And it was because of the three-dimensional and different kinds of ways we were moving our bodies and the body memory and all the things on it. It's a topic. Seriously, it's like I love this topic so much. And when you're getting into your body, you now have an opportunity to heal when you get back into your body. And of course, sometimes that's not as easy as we say, and you need people to help you out, and that's okay too, right? You guys, we are making a pretty intimate connection between the expressive arts and stress relief in this book. So, Megan, what do you want people to know if they are in that place of struggle with stress? What do you think is a baby step they could take?
Oh gosh, it's really taking a breath, isn't it? When we're so caught up in our monkey minds and we're just feeling in complete overwhelm, and I get that, I know what that feels like. It's up to us to take responsibility for ourselves in that moment. And again, pause. And whatever you do to allow the pause, whether it is to turn on the radio and listen to your favorite song and dance around the room, whether it's to take yourself to the museum or to the art gallery and see things that are out of your ordinary, or just give yourself permission to stop for a minute and let your whole central nervous system calm down. Get your feet on the ground, put them in the grass, wiggle your toes, you know, just step out of the rat race that you've got going on and giving yourself permission to do that. Even if it's only for 5 minutes, you'll reset and the day will be less stressful. It will feel less stressful.
Agreed. Yes, with the pause. Yes to the pause. Okay, Bonnie, what do you want to add? Like, the world's a little crazy right now. We are all going through all kinds of things right now it's a pile on of stress, I think. It's just felt like that for many years now. What's that baby step you want people to make?
I think we hear a lot about that stress, probably everywhere, social media, our families, everywhere. And I find as an EFT trainer, that's emotional freedom techniques, where we use the meridians, that many times we're looking at stress from a cognitive or thought point of view. Oh, I'm in stress. Let me do something to help myself, which is excellent. We have vagal toning exercises. Those are excellent. All of that is very good. But the thing about dance is that we don't have to think to release. We don't have to name what emotion it is. We don't have to explore why our tummy is tight. We don't have to know why our heart is beating because someone says something. We don't have to work through all the theory. We just move with it. Maybe we move with grief over someone said something terrible. Oh, whatever the emotion is, we don't have to name it. We don't have to analyze it. We don't have to apply techniques to it. We just move, and our nervous system kicks in and does recalibrate.
Yes, powerful. And I love not having to think once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Like, can we just quiet this down a little bit? I love that. All right, Kate, you'll close us out today on this, the stress connection. What's maybe a baby step that you'd like to offer listeners today?
I think a baby step is, I mean, to me, stress is related to the anxiety of not knowing and not understanding, right? When we don't know and don't understand, we feel stressed. So I think the first baby step is to agree it's all right not to know.
Mm.
Like, we don't have to know everything. We don't have to know outcomes. We are so hung up on wanting answers and wanting to know and control, and that makes us stressed when we're in situations where we can't. So I think the first thing is just agree, I don't know. I don't know. It's okay not to know. And that's everything you just said. It's taking a pause. I don't know. It's okay. It's okay not to know for 10 minutes. It's okay not to know for a week. And and dance while you're not knowing. So I think that's the first thing. Like, give yourself permission not to know. It's okay.
Yeah, I love it. Give yourself permission not to know. Breathe, pause, draw a card, have a little movement in your living room. Like, we could combine everything. We could integrate all the things you guys said. Oh my gosh, yes. Kate, Megan, Bonnie, thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for what
Laura.
you do in the world. Thank you for being here today with everyone to share. You all are all so brilliant. And this is way more than a book, you guys. I'm talking to you, listeners. You might have heard something today that gave you goosebumps, or you're resonating with. Maybe you need support, or you have a question, or you just want to carry on the conversations we started today. Drop down into the show notes. Everybody here is hooked up with their websites, and these are very generous experts who are ready to answer that question for you. Okay. So reach out, explore what they're up to. We hope you hop over to Amazon and grab your copy of this amazing book today. And lastly, today, everyone, remember, your words, they change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, authors.
Bye.
Thank you.